gets to say Mike Tyson gave me a nickname? Who gets to say that? Mike Tyson, he doesn't give them away. He just don't give them away. But when he just calls it like he sees it and he knows boxing, Mike Tyson is...
Talk about Mexican Independence Day. We could call this Teddy Atlas here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard it from the champion himself, knocking out the competition.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And I'm like our guest tonight, Emily Pandelakis, the founder of Emily Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to talk about what Emily Boxing stands for, how she feels about boxing today, what changes could be made in boxing, and sometimes you just got to go with the flow. Enough said. Welcome to The Fighter's Voice, Emily.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here finally.
I'm glad. I mean, I would always see you in Vegas, hit and miss at the David Benavidez fights, and you were always on the grind. I was busy, and I respect that. And we've talked for several years now, or chatted, and, finally got you on The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters.
Happy to be here. No, thrilled. And, like you said, I always run into you at all the events, so I'm happy to finally get to chop it up with you a little bit.
And I originally wanted to have you in the month of May. In the month of May, we had it dedicated to all the women in boxing that are both inside the ring, outside the ring, commentating, ring announcing, behind the scenes, management, PR, publicists, and the list goes on. I'm just glad to have you on. We extended it because of all these mighty women involved in the sweet science. Let us all know, what does Emily Boxing stand for, and when was it founded?
I joined, I started working on boxing about 15 years ago. And I founded Emily Boxing not too long after that. Just kind of needed something to brand myself a little bit. So kept it simple. Basically what we do is we provide public relations support and event support for boxing, mostly boxing and a little MMA. So event support can be anything from logistical support, like when I work with TGB Promotions, I run their shuttles to and from the airport, to and from the fight, deal with the transportation for the fighters. With, another client, and maybe a lot more than that, like World Fighting Championships, I do, everything from securing the ring, the ambulance, the insurance, all of that, to handling ticketing and all of that for those events. So, and then of course PR, I help with David Benavidez. I'm his publicist, and I do PR for him primarily during when he's doing fight promotions. I don't know why my camera's so blurry. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, we'll fix it. We'll fix it on our end.
Okay. And then I also do event public PR. So taking an event that's coming up and going out and telling stories, telling the fighters' stories to the local news channels, and kind of, getting coverage of those events.
Well, you wear a lot of hats. I mean, you do.
Yeah.
And that's why I always see you from A to B to C to D. You're always on the go. And, that's who you are. That's what makes you the special person you are, in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, in between the scenes. You're always on the go.
Yeah, it's definitely like a hectic life. Like I just got back Sunday from Seattle. I was there Thursday through Sunday for World Fighting Championships. We had a boxing event up there in Seattle. I got to see my friend Jose Benavidez Sr. I actually didn't get to see him, now that I say that, but his fighters fought on the card. We just didn't connect when we were there. And then I leave again next week to go to Portland for an MMA event. So I kind of do a lot of travel and kind of have to fit in everything else in between that. So it's a busy life. Yeah.
It's a busy life. And I remember Ali Setback once told me, he said, Richard, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And
yep, that's absolutely true.
You seem to love what you do, and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Every day I'm filled with gratitude. I mean, certainly there's hard days, right? Like any job, there's
Sure.
garbage days for sure. Our event last weekend, it was the Friday the 13th event. Like anything that could go wrong kind of went wrong, but it all worked out. We had a great event, great attendance, it was well done. The client was very happy. So, yeah, it's I do love what I do, but yeah, there's hard days for sure.
Well, that's how you prove exactly who you are in the person you are by overcoming these adversities, these speed bumps, so to speak. And what would an event be if there wasn't? Something happening, something occurring. That's why it brings out the strength, and not just you and your team around you, and you guys just get the job done.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a great team. My husband helps quite a bit in my business. And then I have my assistant, David, does a lot. I'm sure you've met him at the events. He helps me when I work a PPC event, especially when David's fighting and I kind of have to pull double duty. He comes in and helps quite a bit with that. So, and then, he helps with everything else, all my business and my husband as well. So.
Well, that's good. You got a supporting cast, and you got people that got your back, and they know what it takes, and they're always prepared because it's. Can you imagine if you were not prepared? I mean, you can't tell somebody, okay, I forgot my notes in my room.
Yeah.
Being able to say that is good because can you imagine if you didn't have any notes in your room? I mean, what would you do? So
yeah,
being able to say, hey, I forgot my notes, they're in my room, at least you can say that, and it's just a matter of time, but the problem will get solved. And it sounds like you're very prepared.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely find myself kind of trying to over prepare for any eventuality. So when I travel for WFC, I bring the gloves. That's one of the things I do. So they're stored at my house, and I will overpack. I'll bring 20 extra pairs of gloves just in case one rips, just in case we have two left, just in case, So yeah.
Well, hey, you're getting it done, and I'm glad a lot of people get to know exactly what Emily Boxing is and exactly what you do. A lot of people that don't know that they'll say, "Oh, there's David Benavides as manager," or "Oh, she's with David Benavides," or "Oh, you got to talk to her." That's what a lot of people see that, but they don't know what happens behind the scenes. They don't know what happens in between. And I'm glad you got this platform to explain exactly your role and exactly what you do and how you overpack, how you over prepare, and that's you being a professional.
Yeah, no, I'm super fortunate, and uh, with David, I'm really lucky to get to work with him, during fight week, certainly dealing with kind of all the logistical stuff that comes with fight week, getting him to where he needs to go when he needs to be there, and dealing with all that goes with that. There's a lot of a lot of people that need access, and why do they need access, and when do they need access, and how do we manage that, and how do we move him and get him where he needs to go, but still give the fans the opportunity to connect with him. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Honestly, it's a dream come true. Like, this is when I met David when he was a kid, and his dad and I have been friends for 15 years, and this is the stuff we would talk about back then. This is stuff we dream about, and here we are living it.
I met David's dad, and very nice man. One of the top trainers in the world. I don't think he gets enough credit for the job that he does, and especially the father son collaboration, how they work together. And David's brother, I had him on a radio show when I used to have do radio in Fresno, and I thought he did an outstanding job in Krieg. So shout out to him and his acting debut. He did wonderful. He did awesome.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Yeah, he did a great job. We're so proud of him. I hope he does more acting. Like, I think that it suits him, and he did a good job. So I'd like to see more of that from him, hopefully.
Oh, I could see him in a lot of roles. A lot of roles. I mean, he has that guy. He has that face, that jaw structure, and he's not afraid to express himself.
No, and he's a funny guy. Like, when you get to know him, he's really funny and can really give that edge that even in his like day-to-day interactions, he kind of blends the comedy with like a hard edge. And I think that's something he could really use in Hollywood. I'd love to see him do more of that.
Well, maybe that's another hat you can wear. I mean, Emily Boxing, management, for actors and getting them out there.
I don't wear any more hats. I'm so tired.
Well, we got to say one hat for you. And we talked about it. I mean, maybe one day you may even manage a podcast show. So you never know.
We'll
never say never.
Someday, yeah.
We'll get you a special hat for that.
There you go. No,
so when you're not when you're not doing boxing, I mean, it doesn't have any off season. Is your year consistently? Can you exactly plan something like say, hey, I want to go on vacation for 2 weeks, or I want to go on vacation for a week, or do things pop up even when you're on vacation?
Certainly, I don't get like any time off. Like I couldn't go for a week and not work like that. And that's kind of the blessing and curse of owning a business. I think any business owner can relate to that, that it's very hard to truly step away. But I've always kind of worked in those environments. I always worked for small businesses. My ex-husband, we owned a software company, and that's how it was. You just work all the time. So there's never a time where I'm like, oh, a whole week off. I couldn't imagine. But if I needed to do something, I could plan a Saturday. It's a little difficult. Like right now, I'm booked. Like something else just came up in August. I'm booked like 6 weeks straight in September and October. And so like, I have no plans for that time because I'm just going to be booked solid. So but it's pretty consistent through the year. August is a light month for me, July and August. So, which, again, it's a blessing and a curse. Like I need money. Money's nice, when I'm working, but
Yeah.
also like having a little breathing room and getting to prepare properly for the very packed fall is going to come in very handy.
That I was about to ask you, out of all the places you've been to cover the big fights, the big pay-per-view fights,
Mm-hmm.
what is your getaway? I mean, do you just make it all about business, or can you squeeze something in between or in the evening, or say, hey, you know what, I'm going to stay one extra day, and if so, what would it be if you had your choice?
We don't really do that. I'm usually pretty anxious to get home when we travel.
Okay.
My husband and I are super homebodies. Like we're very happy at home.
Okay.
There have been times where we've added on a day here and there, but usually not while I'm working, not during the week. I typically won't leave the hotel. Whether I'm alone or with my family, I'm very much like, I want to be in the hotel locked down. What if somebody needs something? What if I don't want to leave the hotel? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll tack on time. But actually, most of our vacations have been really independent of boxing.
What's the biggest thing that you've been able to overcome? What I'm saying is, like, say you've been in your room and you said, okay, I need this. It has to be dropped off at this time. And then I got to turn on and I got to be here. What's the biggest pickle you ever been in and that you got out of, and you sat down, had a glass of wine, and said to yourself, how in the hell did I pull that off?
I mean, I don't know if I can think of any super specific times. I mean, there have definitely been times where I've been like 3 crises at one time, where like Brittany from TGB is calling and she needs something, something done and filled out right away or whatever. And then, I'll be dealing with another issue with WFC and I'm going a little crazy trying to fix something or get somebody on a plane because it's always something like that, like trying to, an issue that needs to be solved immediately. And I remember one time I was doing those 2 things, which were very stressful because they're both very important. And Bobby called, my other client, another client I have in Chicago, and I just started crying. I just stopped and just started crying. It was a little moment. Actually, it was funny. I was just thinking, I was in Laughlin a couple weeks ago, working on an MMA event, and I was kind of pulling double duty and working remote for TGB Promotions, doing shuttles, and I was at the front of our event doing will call and selling some tickets, and I hadn't really been very busy up until that point, but then this mass of people walked up. And at that very moment, Sean Gibbons called me and said, hey, Manny Pacquiao is ready to go. We need a car. So I'm trying to sell tickets to these people while I'm trying to get Manny a car, and both have to happen at that moment. So that's just a recent example of that kind of like, I can't believe this is all happening at one time type of things.
But you pulled it off. No time to think, just react, and it was great mental and physical muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I needed help, I could have called in help. So.
First of all, let's give Sean a shout out. Viva Sean. I love Sean. And
Yes,
Sean, if you're watching this later on, hey, say hello to Woody. I know he's hanging out with you. And Manny Pacquiao's getting ready to do his thing. And since this is the topic, Emily, what do you think about the comeback of Manny Pacquiao? How do you think, if in fact, will it affect his legacy? And or would it better it? Because a lot of people are picking him to win. What do you think?
I think he's still just as competitive as ever. I'm such a huge fan of Pacquiao. Like, first of all, I'm a big fan, so it's hard for me not to fangirl out about it. But
There
I'm
you go.
excited. I'm just really excited to see him back, and I think he's gonna, it's gonna be a competitive fight. And I don't think it could damage his reputation or his legacy. He's so beloved, and it's not like he's gonna half time it or, take it easy. He always is gonna give the fans what we're looking for. And when he truly can't perform at that level, then I think, he'll call it a day. But right now, I'm super excited to see this last hurrah of his and see how it goes.
He is a true people person. He is a true fan friendly human being. He doesn't walk around with 50 bodyguards around him where you can't even see him walk. He's down to earth.
Yeah.
But sometimes he does have to get from A to B, but he always makes time to at least wave, acknowledge you. He never says, if I take one picture, I got to take one with everybody. If there's 100 people there, well, maybe 25 people were very blessed to make it out of everybody else that was there. He works out still in LA in front of the public and, wild card gym. And when they invented, when he was created, when the Lord blessed him, he put a special something, not just on his physical attributes, but just him being a beautiful person inside and out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great guy.
And Sean too. Sean's a go-getter. So I'm pulling for Team Pacquiao when that fight does occur and when that first bell rings. And I mean, how can you not pull for Manny? I mean, who on this earth is not a Manny Pacquiao fan or supporter?
Right. He's great.
Which is like David Benavidez. I mean, I think, if they want to mention, we all know the fight that he wanted and that he pushed for and tried to pursue, and as of right now has not gotten it yet. But I'd like to see David Benavidez fight the winner, because of, even if it is Bud Crawford, if he pulls a rabbit out of his hat, because he's very competitive, very strong. A lot of people have him even favored in that fight. I can see David at least fighting one more time, or sticking around at that 168, or being able to come down to 168 and possibly fight the winner, because David is chasing legacy. He's chasing greatness, and he has the fan support like crazy, and he is who he says he is. Once that bell rings, he's able to overcome, he's able to adapt, and certain fighters bring out the best in him.
I totally agree. I completely agree. He is, it's very, it's always nerve wracking when a fighter that you're close to fights, right? But I don't feel that with him because, like you said, he is who he says he is. And I see it in his eyes. I see it when he talks, when he trains. And I'm very excited about how we will look back at his career, because he truly is invested in the fans' happiness, in the fans' experience. And that's why you see him stopping and doing pictures and autographs. When he was coming in for the grand arrivals one time, somebody said, wow, nobody else stopped. And he took a bunch of photos. And, like I said, he's invested in the fan experience, and that goes in and out of the ring.
I had the pleasure of meeting him on the undercard of I met him when they were doing a press conference. He was just there in attendance. It was when Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman. He was there underneath the tent, and he was just a regular person, feet on the ground. You just knew there was something special about him. At one time, at that time he was 160, and huge 160 pounder, and you already knew that, the light heavyweight division was calling him, but you knew he was sticking around for those big names, because under 60 pounds, I mean, during that time, it was hot. It was fire. All the big names, 160, 168, and he stuck around for a reason, and he's still here. And you can duck him all you want or not pursue him, but he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. He is here, and his legacy is very important to him. So I think you'll see him, as he has, take on as tough a challenges as are offered to him.
Yeah, and I mean, and who gets to say Mike Tyson gave me a nickname? Who gets to say that? Mike Tyson, he doesn't give them away. He just don't give them away. But when he just calls it like he sees it, and he knows boxing, Mike Tyson is boxing historian.
The future of combat sports, a centralized platform where fighters, fans, coaches, promoters, and anyone involved in a fight game connect, communicate, and do business. Fighters can find fights, fans follow every move, and everyone in a fight game can showcase their services. Whether you're looking to promote a fight, find a cutman, or book talent, it's all here. FIGHTBOOK is changing the fight game forever. Welcome to the revolution.
One of the best boxing minds ever to be on this earth. And when he gives you a nickname, he means it. He stamped it on you, and it's not going away.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, and that's kind of when I talk to people that I meet in person that aren't boxing people, and I try to kind of explain who David is. He's not just a fighter, like, a fighter, I know a fighter, but like Mike Tyson gave him a nickname. They're like, they listen, because that's when a lot of people that don't follow boxing now kind of look back at the Mike Tyson era as like the last good time in boxing. And I'm sure you experience that when you talk to people outside of, I used to watch when Mike Tyson fought, but they really haven't watched much since. So you either talk about Canelo. Do you know who Canelo is? Well, if you Google him and David, then you'll know who he is. And then the Mike Tyson nickname. I mean, that's another kind of just to indicate to people like where he's at on, in his career.
I've recently had those conversations with people where people say, and I'm saying as being as humble as possible as I can be. Hey, do you know who Richard is? He interviews these fighters. Have you heard of Manny Pacquiao? No, who is? And when I got to go into that, or there's no use even showing them an interview. It just some people. They're just on the other side of the earth, I guess, or they'll go, I know Muhammad Ali, and of course Mike Tyson, but they just don't keep up with the sport, and or you got the ones that keep up with it and they just don't want to acknowledge. And it is what it is. It's you got to have tough skin and continue to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a niche sport, but we always try to expand our reach as much as we can.
Listen, when I advertised that you were going to be on the show, all these women, these bad women in boxing, like I said, the ring announcers, the commentators, the managements, the promoters, they all reached out and said, "Oh, she's a badass."
Oh man, I appreciate that.
When you hear that, we're talking about the Christina Potchers, we're talking about the Britneys, and you name it, all the powerful one, Nancy Rodriguez, all the powerful people that are involved in the sport of boxing, help keeping this afloat and not taking a back seat to a male figure, because I believe that it's already 50-50. The gap has been closed. If anything, sometimes you got women that just, man, you got to give them their just due. You really do, because they're not just working in boxing. They are a part of boxing. They are boxing.
No, that's really nice to hear. I mean, obviously those women you mentioned are trailblazers, and I mean, happy to be in company with them.
Well, you do, and you're very humble. I mean, you're always, you sit and you make sure A gets taken care of, to get to B, to get to C, to D, and you're not just there. You got a job to do, and you do it with a smile, but you make sure it gets done.
Yeah, I really kind of pride myself on making sure that, I deliver what I can well, and in a timely manner. I'm not always successful, but I work hard.
Well, the hard work is showing, and it does pay off. What's on your bucket list? What are your goals? What's out there that's you'd like to be a part of, or you would like to accomplish? I'm sure you got goals that are set, and you raise the bar on things that you do. Where do you like to see yourself?
I'm managing a fighter, Bryant Miranda, here in Phoenix. I would love to work with him to get him to a title. I mean, that would mean the world to me, that he trusted me and I was able to work with him. He's doing the heavy lifting, the fighting, and working on my end to get him the opportunities. So that's kind of a big goal of mine. And then I don't know, just working on getting more opportunities for David. Short term, that's something that's very important to me. So we're looking at kind of bigger sponsor and media opportunities, and that's something that I have a goal. And I love what I'm doing. I just want to keep doing it. I want to keep making a living doing what I love. And to me, it's very simple. Like I don't need to be a millionaire, but I do want to continue to be able to provide for my family and work in boxing and do, this amazing fun job. Like how can I, I just want to keep doing it and keep making a living at it and be successful enough to be able to provide well for my family.
Well, it sounds like you're doing it. I mean, you're booked, and those are all blessings to be booked, to be busy doing something you love. And, I'm sure you hear this from everybody, but I'm glad I asked you years back, close to 4 years back. One day we got to have David Benavidez on the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters, talk boxing, talk whatever he wants to talk about, and, keep it 100.
Absolutely. For sure.
I mentioned this right here on the camera, got to see it. So I'll give a shout out to Gatorade. They're not a sponsor, but I'll give a shout out. So you best believe I am going to tag them after this. And since I'm giving shout outs, I want to thank our sponsors, the Maldonado Brothers, proudly serving the Central Valley for over 25 years from Visalia to Chowchilla. Whether it's expert tree service or professional landscaping, we offer free estimates with a team you can trust, voted the best in Central Valley once again in 2025. Call us today at 559-994-7746. So, Emily, if you want your yard done, hit them up.
I'll hit them up.
Number. They'll take care of your landscape, and they'll pour cement. They'll cut your trees. They'll make your yard look more beautiful than it already is.
Awesome. Definitely have them out.
There you go. There you go. So I'm going to ask the question, because a lot of people, since we're talking about David Benavidez, and then we'll move on. What's next for David Benavidez? I mean, is there something concrete? Is it signed yet? Is he going to stay at 175? Is he thinking of fighting the winner of the Ramirez fight on the undercard of the Jake Paul Chavez Jr. card? Because I know he does want to move up. What's the store for David Benavidez?
I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, and I frankly don't know much. All that I know is, we're hoping that he comes back in October, and I'm not sure what his plans are in terms of who he's going to fight, what weight class. He's going to take the best and hardest fight that he can for the fans.
Okay, I'll ask you this, and we're going to move on.
We're actually working on some meet and greets and stuff too. So definitely, if you follow him, Benavidez 300, or follow me, Emily Boxing. We'll keep you guys updated because we're going to be doing some fan events as well.
Well, you know what? I work at a high school, at a continuation high school for the high school kids. And a lot of times they don't get scholarships because they go to the big high schools, so they often get overlooked. But if you're ever around the Fresno area and you got an hour to spare, we got to have David come and talk to these kids, yourself included, because I'm sure he can make an impact and a change for the better in these kids. And I always reach out and I always tell them, the kids, that I would give them a shout out. So shout out to Mount Vista High School. And hey, guys, I'm still trying. We did bring some athletes down there to talk to you, and they have made an impact. And, I'm always going to ask, and it's strictly for the kids, 100%, the students.
Of course. If we're in the Fresno area, we'd be happy to.
Okay. You talked about your other fighter out in Phoenix. When is his next fight?
He's fighting July 5th with Del Sol Promotions in Phoenix. I've got tickets for sale. If you're in the Arizona, if you're in Phoenix, we'd love to have you out. Hit me up for tickets. I'm also working to secure sponsors for Bryant for that event. So, looking for that as well. He's 4-0, 4 knockouts. He's a very heavy-handed talent at 130. He fought his last fight at 35 because he had a layoff, while he was with his former promoter. And so we moved on from there, and now he's with Del Sol and fighting. We're very excited, fighting July 5th, trying to keep him super busy. He just fought in March, and so now, he'll be back July 5th.
I got some family in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to have them, make sure to look out for that event coming up.
Come on out. We'd love to have you.
Go there and support. Now, is that something that you want to do? Do you want to manage more fighters? Do you have room on your roster for more fighters?
Not right now. To be honest with you, I just don't want to take on that responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and I take it really seriously. And I see people coming new into the business and signing guys and collecting opponents and collecting guys. And I'm not that person. I want to make sure that if I sign somebody, I'm very committed to them, and that I can be fully invested in their career. So I don't have any plans to manage anybody else. I'm very excited about Red, and I think he's going to be something really special.
Well, just in case you do, an opening comes up. There's a kid from Madera, California. His name is Brian the Lion Lua. He's undefeated. He used to be with Top Rank. He's fought on the undercard of a couple of Golden Boy fights, undefeated. And I'm going to be honest with you, the kid has cement in his hands. And yeah, he can punch. He got knockout of the night on ESPN when they were fighting in the bubble. What was that?
I might be able to find somebody to help him, and I can always help with PR or whatever.
I'll send you his content and his footage. And if he would get on his social media, I mean, the kid is a heartthrob. I think he got everything working for him. He just needs that guidance. He does. When you see him, you're going to say, Richard, is he an actor, a model? Are you sure he fights? And I'm going to say, yes, he does. And he's very heavy-handed, undefeated kid.
All right. Yeah. Send him over.
I don't co-sign. I don't just give it out. I really don't, because my name's on there. I don't want anybody coming back saying, that car you sold me, it doesn't work too well. I want them to say, hey, how's that car running? I'll go up to you and ask you. I won't avoid you. So, yes.
Right. That sounds good.
So how much are you involved in the MMA? Are you involved also in bare knuckle?
I've never had anything to do with bare knuckle or a bare knuckle fight. The only I have one client, World Fighting Championships, that does MMA, and most of our shows lately have been MMA. So I'm getting more and more experienced in that area. I'm still very green. I still struggle with like which fight gets shin guards and elbow pads, and just not something we do in boxing, right? So
yeah,
I'm kind of learning on the job over there. But I mean, the structure of the event is roughly the same, so it's not too big of a learning curve. But understanding the sport and the athletes are very different. Like just their mannerisms and the way they deal with the whole event is a little bit different. But I'm enjoying it. I definitely prefer boxing.
Oh, I love boxing. That's a sweet science. And, I've been a part of Big Dog Bare Knuckle Boxing.
Okay.
UFC veteran LeVar Johnson, he's a co-promoter along with Gilbert Zuniga. And I went to 2 events. And at first I was thinking to myself, maybe this isn't for me, commentating and going up there doing the post-fight interviews. I'll tell you what, every single round was like Hearns Hagler. It was just excitement. And the winners are the fans. All those in attendance are the winners.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's pretty intense. And the training they go through, like one of my friends here in Phoenix was a UFC fighter, and he's talked about just how exhausting the training itself is, because you're sparring here, you're sparring there. It's like intense because you're, having to perfect so many different disciplines. So it's very admirable what they do as athletes.
Absolutely. You got to respect the craft. And since you're in Phoenix, shout out to Michael Carbajal, the one and only from Phoenix, Arizona.
We love Michael.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He unboxes me every now and then. And I got to get him on the show. And I like working directly, but what was that?
Yeah, you should. He's a great interview. He has so much knowledge about boxing. He has so many things to say about the existing boxing landscape. And, this is a guy that put everything on the line every single time. He never fought, easy competition. He always went for the hardest fight. So he has a lot to say about the current landscape. So definitely want to get him on.
I do want to get him on, because I want to ask him about, how close was that fight happening with Ricardo Lopez? Why didn't it happen? And everybody wanted to see it. And you got to remember Ricardo Lopez. He was always on Don King's promotions. And, one thing about Don King, his cards were stacked. I mean, look at the rematches that he had. I mean, you had Simon Brown against Terry Norris. You had, gosh darn it, Julian Jackson, Gerald McCallum, Julio Cesar Chavez, Frankie Randall. I mean, the list goes on. Azuma Nelson, Jesse James Leija, and then Ricardo Lopez was on that card. So it was just a stacked card. He also, Christian Martin debuted with Don King Promotions as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I really can't wait for her to see her movie.
Oh, I know. The whole story. I want to see that movie too. She opened up a lot of doors. She made boxing an eye-opener. especially the way she would go to the body, and it was accepted. A lot of people still don't accept it, and you still got some knuckleheads out there that don't accept it. Well, that's just too bad for them. Women athletes, women boxing in itself, and I'm glad we got the Jake Pauls that go out there and promote it. He's not the only one, but you know the WBC cares also does, and so does every governing body. Women's boxing is here to stay, and it's making waves, and it's making big names for themselves, and it's making noise. And like I said, it's here to stay. And I'm privileged to watch these athletes display their talent inside of that ring.
Absolutely, totally agree. I'm super excited about women's boxing.
Emily, growing up, I mean, you had to watch a certain fighter or certain fighters that you know influenced you, or a certain businesswoman that influenced you that was involved in boxing. Who did you watch? Who gave you the best advice? And, you know, where do you compare it from where you were then to where you are now?
I mean, as a kid, I wasn't really into boxing. We watched Mike Tyson as a kid. You know, that was kind of my experience with boxing. In my mid-20s, I dated somebody who was a big boxing fan, and he kind of got me into it and got me to go to Central, and that's how I met Jose, and that's kind of how that story started. But, you know, in terms of who influenced me, I mean, obviously as you know, women who, you know, Jackie Callan, Kathy Duva. I mean, obviously there's some powerhouse women in boxing, and you know, I was really fortunate. You know, I worked with Cameron Duncan for a number of years, and he taught me quite a bit about boxing. And so that was somebody that, you know, really helped me. Sean Gibbons was a huge help and you know, to me early in my career. Stephen Fader, out of the Wild Card, you know, he was the reason I was able to start doing this for a living. So, you know, really fortunate to have gotten, you know, to know some really great people early on.
Well, I'm glad you have a chance right now on this platform to acknowledge them and thank them.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, because everybody starts somewhere, and including starting somewhere. It's funny you say that, because I don't know why, but I just felt the need that I needed to remember where I came from, because this shirt that I'm wearing is vintage. I first started me and a buddy named Mark Davis. We used to call ourselves, he was all into MMA and I was all into boxing. We'd call ourselves the Sweet Science versus the Cage. And I looked through
nice.
Got the hat, I got the shirt. And, you know, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Mark. We haven't worked together in possibly maybe, 15 years maybe. But we started with him. I mean, we started together. We started just hustling. They used to laugh at us. We do interviews, and I had no microphones. You couldn't even hear me. I do an interview. I'm looking this way. The fighter's looking the other way. And, you know, there was no light. I remember interviewing Robert Garcia in the dark, and he said, shouldn't we stand by a light? But I was so green and just so eager. Hey, I got Robert Garcia here. I don't want to let him go. You know, instead of saying, just relax, act like you've been there before. So I just felt like the need just to at least tell myself, you know what, keep your feet on the ground. I mean, we haven't exactly got to where I want to get to as far as with the podcast. But, you know, I do remember where I came from and who I started with. So it's funny that you mentioned that. So it just, by coincidence, I'm wearing the shirt and the hat. So I was thinking, I'm not going to say anything. I was probably going to look in the camera and say, if you know, you know. But there was a chance for an open door. And the show's not about me. The show's about you, Emily.
No, I mean, I've just been really lucky to work with some great people. And David Duenas, he's another one who gave me opportunities early on. Alec Kohut. So I'm just really fortunate.
This segment is sponsored by the MALDONADO Brothers, proudly serving the Central Valley for over 25 years. From Visalia to Chowchilla, whether it's an expert tree service or professional landscaping, we offer free estimates and a team you can trust. Voted best in Central California for 2024 and aiming for a repeat in 2025. Call 559-994-7746 today, and let's bring your outdoor vision to life. Superior quality to create your perfect environment. Well, look how it went. I mean, they've given you the opportunity and advice. How many people have you given the opportunity to? And how many people that you've gave advice to? And look where he or she is going today. So it continues to move forward. And it's, you know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You've been blessed, and the blessings keep coming. And now you're used as a vessel to touch people's lives and help them out as well.
Yeah, I definitely try to put people on whenever I can. My friends and coworkers in Phoenix, I try to bring them whenever I can to events and work. Um, trying to give opportunities and advice to newer people in the business. It's something I enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, you do, and you do a good job. And a lot of times, when I see you in Vegas, like I said, you're always busy. One of these days, you just gotta say, Richard, okay, I'm free for an hour. Let's have a glass of wine and a cold Corona and just
Yes,
talk boxing in
that's
Vegas.
good. We should definitely do that.
Well, listen, is there anybody out there, anybody special that you like to? The platform is yours, that you like to give a shout out to, or any acknowledgement? Is it somebody's birthday or somebody you want to say hello to? Right now, the platform is yours.
Oh, I'm just grateful to everybody who supports the fighters that I work with, the promotions I work with, and that's why I'm able to have a job. That's why I'm able to do what I love and be home with my son and my husband. And I'm just really thankful for all my clients, TGB Promotions, Top Ranked, Bella, Joel De La Hoya, Bobby Hits, Matt McGovern with WFC, um, Westside Promotions. I have like so many clients that I'm so fortunate to have, and David, of course, and the team Benavides, Jose Benavides Sr. So, um, very fortunate to get to work with all these people. I don't know, like it's insane. Like I wake up and I'm like, how is this happening to me? But I'm grateful.
Well, you know what? I know they're grateful too. I know they're grateful to be working with you too, and to have you on their team, have you on their Rolodex, and iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We all make each other better, and I learn stuff from every client that I apply everywhere, and it's you know always trying to improve, always trying to get better. Doing a lot of lately, I've been focusing a lot on like self improvement and how I can have better habits, and I'm very much supported in that with my clients. So it's awesome.
That's motivating, because when I hear that, I always say to myself too, what can we do to get better? And you
Mhm.
said it, better habits. I mean, giving it the respect that it deserves. Don't take your talent for granted, or don't take, okay, I got this, it's on cruise control now. Hey, what got you here was your checklist. What got you here was your work habits. What got you here was showing up on time. What got you here, returning calls, looking people in the eyes when you speak to them. That's what got you here. And those are great muscle memory events that take place, that continue to put you where you are and where you need to be in your career.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely. It's not easy because I'm kind of an introvert and stuck in an extrovert's body, and you know, I'm always have a million things on my mind, so I have a hard time like holding long conversations because my brain is always working. But I enjoy it. I enjoy trying to get better. So
So if people want to follow you and support you, what you're doing. What's your handle? What's your IG? Are you on Twitter? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Facebook?
I'm
How
on
can they stay in contact with you?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is Emily Boxing, and I'm on TikTok, Emily_boxing. That I'm still kind of learning TikTok. I talk a lot about, fight week and what happens during fight week. And I talk about my mental health because that's something that, is a challenge for me all the time. And, kind of talk about life with kids and that kind of stuff. So that's TikTok is a little more personal. But yeah, I'm everywhere as Emily Boxing. I love Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. Right now, I'm working very hard to find sponsors for my fighter, Red, and for Del Sol Boxing Promotions and WFC coming up in Portland and Spokane and Fargo. So Phoenix businesses, nationwide businesses, please hit me up for sponsorships because we really need the help. We got a pro-am, kids are fighting, come be a part of it.
Absolutely. I got to ask you this question though before I let you go. How many subscriptions do you have, and how many magazines do you actually read?
Um, right now, I only have 2 subscriptions. I guess you follow me on TikTok.
Of course I do. And I
One of
did. I was like, okay, you let loose there. I got a chance to finally, get some realness out of you. So somebody that was just not always on the go. You sat there and I was like, okay, there you go. I know that.
I read 2 magazines. I subscribe to 2 magazines. Vanity Fair, which I really
Okay.
enjoy the long form articles, so I'll take it outside and read it. But I have a stack here that I haven't read. But like I said, my ace here, Reader's Digest. I'm a 80-year-old woman stuck in a 46-year-old woman's body, and I love reading Reader's Digest. It's got little stories, I used to read it when I was a kid at my grandma's when I was sick, and I still subscribe because it's so good. So big shout
Yeah,
out
well,
to
listen, Reader's Digest. I mean, we need your sponsorship right now for these fighters for this event coming in Phoenix. There you go. We just tagged 2 magazines right there. So on this little section right there, we're going to tag you both. We can use the sponsorship for these pro and am fighters.
Yeah, heck yeah, come on, come on board. I mean, journalism is exactly not, swimming in money either, but hey, come on board.
Absolutely. I'm sure, hey, they can write a story on it. They could put it, they can make it happen, just like the Ring magazine does, and
Fair, hit me up so we can do something with David Benavides and his wife. We'll do a nice spread with them. So hit me up, Vanity Fair. I'm a subscriber. I got a stack of them right here.
There you go. And also make sure you tag the Fighter's Voice too, because we're going to help push that. And we need to get those sponsorships out there for these fighters, because, training doesn't come easy. Promotion doesn't come for free. Travel doesn't come for free. You know what, Emily, if I was ever to have a sponsor, I would love to be sponsored by like American Airline or the Hilton Hotel. I would go to all these events. People ask me, hey, Richard, are you going to this event? Which event are you going to? And I keep it real, Emily. I tell them wherever my budget allows me to go.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine being sponsored by American Airline? Okay, Richard, you're taking, we're going to send you down there, and you're staying at the Hilton. Don't worry about that. All you got to worry about is, your change in food. I can make that happen, because I've been to fights where I'm eating bread and bologna or chips and salami.
And we've done sandwiches. My husband, actually, when we go to Vegas, we bring like a whole kitchen. Like we bring food for the whole week, so I don't have to buy food there because it's so expensive.
It is. And good for you.
Sandwiches, we got soup, we got, so.
I'm going to tell you a quick story, and it's a true story. I was in Las Vegas, and I posted in my room. It was Doritos and some salami. And I said, this is my dinner for the night. And I wasn't saying it I was just keeping it real. This is my dinner tonight, proud of it. I had a fighter. He sent me $40. He said, Richard, get yourself something to eat. So shout out to Al Tiburon and Andy Vincent's. I appreciate that, brother. I love you for that, man. And when he did it, I kind of laughed, and I was like, well, right on, man. Get on down.
I should have given him a shout out because he gave me an opportunity to manage him, and it was such a blessing to get to know him and his wife and to be a tiny, tiny part of his career. And I'm so thrilled at what he's doing with his gym, Stone Boxing.
Yes.
He's
amazing.
He's such a great man, great fighter. Always give the fans all he had, and just, man, I love that guy.
I always came in tremendous shape.
Yep.
I mean, even when he's not in the gym, he looks like he's in tremendous shape. We brought him to go talk to the inmates. I knew the assistant warden there at the women and men's prison. We brought Andy Al Tiburon to go talk to the inmates, and they loved him. They wanted him back.
Yeah, he's so motivating. Like even his if you watch, and you should follow him on YouTube. He does some great breakdowns of fights.
Yes, he does.
Training techniques and stuff about his gym. So definitely he's a great follow on YouTube.
I will say this too. He has no secrets. You know why? Because he gives them all away. He gives them all away. And he wants these fighters to be better than him. He wants them to try this technique that does work. He gives them all away.
Yep, he's a great guy. Great guy. And his wife, Stephanie, she's lovely. They're just such an amazing couple. I loved working with them, and really grateful to still call him a friend. And, I wish him nothing but infinite happiness and success.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time coming on here and the kind words that you say for people that I feel the same as you do towards them. And in what you're doing, I mean, your journey, it's not even halfway yet. I mean, you talk about being busy. God's going to continue to fill your cup, because when you do things positive and you do it 100% for the people, the fighters, and you're making a living doing it, it's a true blessing. And we need more people like you involved in the sport of boxing. Well,
I'm very excited and lucky to be here, and happy to help other people who are coming up, navigate some of the waters. It's not always easy, and you get excited and you try to help people, and, it's a tough business. And, I went through a lot of stuff the hard way, and happy to help others avoid those pitfalls.
Well, you're doing a great job, and we're here for you too. I mean, whenever you got news, or you said, Rich, I need the platform, or hey, I'll talk to you off camera, or I'm going to message, or I'm going to text you. If there's like I said, if there's anything we can do or be a part of, I'd love to be somewhat of that on your roster or be a part of your team. And I truly mean it.
I appreciate that so much.
When there's sponsors out there, and I'm going to be honest with you. There's 3 like Mexican restaurants, 3 taco trucks, right? And I could take their money and say, do it. But how could I say you're the best in this area? And I got 3 of you guys. So, I want to find out who truly is the best. And I'll take the one sponsor, then the 3, and say the same thing about them. I just can't do that. That's not who I am.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that.
Yes.
Good policy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our guest today, and make sure you follow her on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And if you want to make some donations, make sure you inbox her on Instagram. She has a big event coming up in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And if you have not followed or subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. It's www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. Remember, every fighter has a voice. Once again, I want to thank our guest, Emily Boxey. Keeps it short and sweet and simple. It's a household name. Remember, if you're part of the Sweet Science, you got to be a part of Emily Boxing. The support goes a long way. We support you, and so does everybody else. And as always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
It's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.